Before the height of the Gilded Age, Christmas had more humble beginnings. People brought nature indoors, decorating with evergreen branches, holly, pine cones, and rose hips. They strung tree garland with cranberries and nuts. And they relied on the glow of candlelight to brighten the mantle, and clipped candles on branches to illuminate paper ornaments and gifts that were hung on the Christmas tree with care. So here's how we did our own version of an early Victorian Christmas. So, in preparation for getting a tree, the first thing we want to do is locate the tree stand that we want to use for our tabletop in our front parlor. So this is a nice antique one. It's beautiful. It's got the little pine cones on it. And so you want to measure the width, 2 inches. I want a tree trunk that's 2 inches or less. Here we are going out in the beautiful countryside. 15-minute little drive through this lovely paradise in Ferndale on our way to get a tree. Hey Roy, how you doing?
Hi,
good to see ya. You don't
can't
have
see
to...
my smile.
Oh, I know
that's
it's
a common
there.
courtesy.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you can see he's all set up this year. We've been coming here for 20 years to this cute place, so close to home, and getting a tree every year. He's got his own local tree farm. How long have you been running your business, Roy?
Since 1982.
1982. Is that not cool? I think I found the tree I want. I've got a tree vase that's antique. Oops, there goes my mask in there. And it has to be 2 inches. Do you think this is going to work? So perfect. Yeah, and I can cut it up here. So would you mind trimming it for me so
Sure.
that it'll drink
Take
water?
about 1 inch off.
Okay, thank you. That'd be great. So how close is the nearest dairy to be? Is it like right next door?
Across the fence.
Yeah, right next door.
There's some noise.
Okay. Oh no thanks, I'm gonna get my own. Because I'm gonna show people how I'm gonna bind them all together with some wire and make garlands and bring all natural greenery into their houses. And I'm gonna wait till right before Christmas. That way it'll be fresh. So, but thank you for offering.
Yeah.
I will get a wreath from you guys though.
That's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we just got home, and in the dying light of day, I'm gonna unload this stuff. And here's our tree. What's important is that if you can, don't bring your tree in too early. And we're not gonna do our decorations until the 20th of December. So you get a bucket, and you fill up the bucket with water. And you check it like maybe every 2 or 3 days. And the important thing is to make sure you have a fresh cut on your base. And you know what I'm going to do, which is smart, is I'm just going to check my base to make sure it's going to fit. It is perfect. And you know, I won't be able to water it, but to tell you the truth, after a couple weeks, the tree stops drinking. Doesn't really matter. So you flip it over and pop it in. And I'm just going to secure it to that side. Take off these gloves. I love this stuff. This is the plastic gardening tape that you use for tying up your roses, of which I have about 30 of. And then you just bring it around, just tight enough to keep it from falling over in a windstorm. And there's a little tree all ready for in about 3 weeks, we're going to bring it in. It's fun to forage for evergreen branches, berries, and rose hips. Here's what we found on our property. Instead of berries, we settle for orange-red rose hips formed from the many roses in our garden. For evergreens, I rely on my big, graceful redwood tree. I cut newer, healthy branches that are growing near the base of the trunk. And it's good to have more than one type of evergreen, so Alicia and I forage from our giant cypress trees bordering the windy north side of our property. Many of these branches hold little treasures of tightly formed pine cones. Next, we fill buckets with warm, soapy water, giving our cuttings a little soak. And then we rinse them off to remove suds, debris, and bugs. When they are completely dry, they'll be ready to be brought inside and turned into garlands. Now it's very rainy outside, so I'm glad I'm indoors. But what you do is you can lay out some newspaper and cut your pieces to sizes that you can easily put together. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to show you with some wire how to make different lengths garlands. Small pieces for just decorating your mantle and longer pieces for, we have these beautiful chandeliers and we're going to actually swag them on them. So what I first want to show you that's really helpful, it's 2 different gauges of wire. So what happens is the first gauge of wire is the heavier one. I'm going to make a small piece that's going to go on a little table. And so you get a small section and you start twining some of your different ones. I'll go over again what we foraged for. This is redwood leaves, and this is Monterey cypress. I'll start with a piece like this, and I put the main wire along here first, and then the second wire I want to show you is a finer gauge wire. And so this one is 24 gauge, and it's florist wire, and that's why it's this light color. And I'm just going to use a piece of it so that it doesn't get all tangled while I'm working. It reminds me of some of these little things I've done with our antique trims when I've made little wreaths and garlands on our ornaments. Some of you have them. So what I do is I start this off at the end, and then I just grab it in a couple of places just to hold it down. And I cut my rose hips into smaller pieces so I could just lay the rose hip in and wind that around. See, we've got the rose hip on. Okay, so what I did is next I'm going to grab about this much, it's the length of your arms. So I'm going to cut myself a long piece, and you're going to want to have short pieces that you're putting on here, and you'll be able to bend this where you want it. And you could also leave it as a wreath too. And so I'll show you this. So you want to build it with smaller pieces, and this time I'm actually going to try to do this starting with this side, and then I have shorter lengths that I can continue to use of the floral wire. So I'm going to go ahead and start here, secure my end. Again, we're dealing with live greenery, so you have to somewhat be gentle. Then we're adding redwood branch and building from there. So here's the final length. It's about finished size, about 5 feet. And I'm going to see if I like this on the mantle better or if I like it on one of my chandeliers. You can use anything you want, any kind of string that you want. And the first thing you want to do is just put a loop in it so that you'll have the ability to put it against a tree branch like that. And then these are not decorations you obviously save because they're edibles. And then you just put your right through the middle and string it all the way to the end. And we're going to try a combination of these really cool cranberries. And I'm imagining you have about a week on the cranberries probably before they start to get yucky. And then we'll do a bunch of these. So I'm going to do about 6, and then I'm going to put on an almond. These are great because you can kind of leave them with some space in between them. So here goes the almond. Hopefully you can figure out where the hole was. Alicia and I each thread needles with strings cut to 6-foot lengths. As we create these, we feel like we've just stepped back in time. Shiny red cranberries contrast well with the mixed nuts. And we also add some rose hips for a pretty accent color. Alicia and I string about 6 of these garlands, just enough to catch the glow of candles along with paper ornaments on our Victorian tabletop tree. Hear the church bells ring. It's Christmas Day. Children and adults alike gather around the tree. What did Father Christmas leave us? Oh, look, there's gifts for the whole family. Cuddly animals, puzzles, dolls, party games, gifts for everyone. And with great anticipation, we look to see if Santa could possibly have tucked something into the tree that could bear the weight of the branches. Oh, look, there's a beautiful purse and more toys. But nothing could be more magical, romantic, and authentic than a tree at nighttime, lit only by candlelight. To create this type of effect, location is absolutely everything. We quickly realized that we needed to position the candles right in front of each paper decoration. Once we did that, suddenly it was magic. Maybe this is what people felt 200 years ago when homemade decorations surrounded by glimmering tinsel came alive. Imagine the delight of exploration and discovery, looking for hidden treasure. Everyone enchanted by the tree, caught in the spell of discovering, around each branch, a new surprise. The magic of color, design, and imagery unfolding in the candlelight.